Hello and welcome to Better Than B, where we hope to provide you with A-list entertainment and commentary. My name is James Armstrong. I am joined today by
James Waddington.
And the non-James in the room, Sean Sharp.
the odd man out.
I'm refusing to change my name. They've asked more than once. Moving on.
The James Show. No!
James 3.
James is the third power, yes.
That would be an interesting show.
Yeah, there we go.
I might watch that.
Okay, there we go.
So, moving on.
That's where the hits can be found. All right. Well, starting out today with a little bit of catching up. It was just about 2 weeks ago or so that we got the sad news that Adam West, to many people, their first Batman. To others, he was the school principal on Pete and Pete, or Mayor West on Family Guy.
I always forget he was in Pete and Pete.
Yeah, just a kind man, a kind soul all around. So important to like generations of childhoods, and just tragic news that the prolific actor, father figure, passed away at the age of 88. Just my own, I guess, quick Adam West story, which is I've been a Batman fan my entire life, and I pretty much raised myself on the Batman 89 movie and the Batman 66 movie. So I always got the dark side of Batman and the light.
Yep.
And probably the most impactful lesson I ever learned from the character of Batman is a very essential one. It wasn't questions about morality or anything that you typically see in the comic books and on film. It was to always wear my seatbelt.
Hey, it's all those simple messages that you kind of get from those old style 60s. They had a lot 60s, 70s, and even up into the 80s especially had it as well. Those PSA announcements through kid shows and whatever,
Right.
about I know G.I. Joe had one and Batman had one. Getting back to first sort of remembering of Adam West is, yes, Batman. That's sort of what I remember him as. I didn't grow up in the 60s. I was not new for me, and I didn't really catch up to that point until well after I started watching Family Guy, and I was like, that name, Mayor West. Is that Adam West? And then of course in the credits, I'm like, oh, that's Batman. That's the first Batman. And he's and I was like, oh, he's got to have a sense of humor. He knows what the show's about.
Yeah.
So then I had to go check out some of the old Batman flicks. And I'm like, oh yeah, this dude's like a class act, man. He was Batman before he needed the armored suit. He was Batman before he needed nipples on the suit.
Right.
He didn't need any of the fancy schmancy toys. He just solved problems the old-fashioned way with nice big subtitled, like hitting pow.
Yeah.
That classy guy.
Yeah.
It's a darker day when we lose someone of that talent in the world. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The thing is, even, you wait for the vampires and the snakes and the weasels to come out of the woodworks, with terrible stories about someone who passes on. Unfortunate nature of Hollywood and the world we live in. But I haven't heard really anything.
Yeah, it's been 2 weeks and nothing.
Nothing. And I'm not trying to be doom and gloom here. If anything, it shows the level of respect and the fact that he had bumps, being stereotyped as Batman, and that took a toll on his career. But the fact that he later rolled with it and really embraced it and had a lot of fun with it later on in his life. But always a classy guy, always respectful. And from what I understand, anyone that saw him at a convention walked away thinking that was wonderful. That was someone that actually took the time just to spend a little time with me.
I got to see him live at the Paramount Theater, I think,
cool.
summer of 2011 when they showed the 1966 Batman movie, and he introduced the film and was classy as ever. Talked about how today we have the Dark Knight. He was always the Bright Knight, and turned around to the audience and said, "Check out my superhero physique."
He never had that typical superhero physique either. He was never ripped. He never overly muscular. He was just your average dude.
Yeah.
He had the dad bod before the dad bod was a thing.
Before the dad bod was a thing. But ironically, he was making fun of himself once, and he said, suits with nipples and all that and cod pieces is like, no, that was all West. I didn't need that.
100%
West.
That was all 100% grade A West.
I love it. But yeah, that's
Just seems like yesterday I was, Mom would pick me up from school. We would be driving home, and Mom had a habit where she would take off her seatbelt when we got to our block because, in her words, she wanted to hop out of the car after a long day at work as quickly as possible.
Darn tootin'.
And but as a kid who, again, always saw Adam West buckle up in the Batmobile, I asked Mom about that one day, and she explained herself, and I said, but Mom, think of Batman Batman would never take off his seatbelt. But
Love it.
rest in peace, Adam West. You will always be remembered.
As Batman.
Absolutely.
No, in general. You always remember in general. Not that.
And moving on to our first official topic of the day, we had a trailer drop today for Jumanji, the, I guess, reimagining of the 1995 film, if memory
Yeah,
serves.
man, I'm
Yeah,
not.
I think it's 95.
I think it's 95.
That sounds right.
There we go, sounds right. But
Mid 90s.
the
Mid-nineties
Jumanji...
film.
The Jumanji reimagining and or reboot comes out Christmas and stars Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart, Karen Gillan, and Jack Black.
Oh yes.
James, initial thoughts on this trailer?
I watched this trailer earlier today. I knew I watched the preview trailer yesterday. It's coming out. I hate trailers for trailers.
Yeah.
Maddening. I tell you, maddening. But I watched the trailer today, and I was, I don't want to say I had the same reaction I did when I first saw the Baywatch trailer, because again, there's The Rock, and it's a comedy. I know it sucked. I know Baywatch sucked, but when I first saw the Baywatch trailer, you're like, that looks like it could be freaking hilarious. And that's my first thought on this one too. I was like, I'm sitting in my chair at work going with my headphones on going like laughing. Thank God no one else is in the office because I get there before everybody. But I was like, and right when I was finished with it, I loved the trailer, loved it. I loved the fact that you have Jack Black, you have all these main actors like Jack Black, Kevin Hart, The Rock, Karen Gillan, who have to play have the mentality and mindset and vocal patterns of high school
Schoolers.
kids.
Yeah.
And they have to carry that through the entire movie. That's a twist I did not see coming, because I figured they would just Rock be The Rock, Kevin Hart be the Kevin Hart. And there's a lot of Kevin Hartisms in the speech already. But after that trailer was over, I was like, man, that felt a lot like Baywatch. And I didn't see Baywatch because I heard it was horrible. So I was like, I hope it's not horrible. But that was my first thought. I loved it. And I can't wait to see the movie now. I'm like, Christmas can't get here fast enough because we get Star Wars and then we get Jumanji. Sean, how about you?
I am really psyched about it. One, because it has one of my most favorite actors of all time. I've been a big Dwayne Johnson fan since I saw The Rundown.
Oh, I love The Rundown.
I saw The Rundown. I was like, this
Little bit of lightning.
This guy can do acting. He just really blew me away with the sheer charisma that he can project. So
Yeah.
to see him in any project, and no, I haven't seen Baywatch, even though for me it's like, 2 wins right off the bat.
Yeah.
I didn't see it, but
Slow motion breasts and rock.
Yeah,
What's not to like?
What's not to
Not
like?
Everything else.
Yeah, but I'll eventually see it. But I definitely would like to see this Jumanji in the theater, and I especially like the way they updated it.
Yeah, they go from a board game to what appears to be an old school console game, much like Atari or something post Atari. Maybe
It looked like something that would be like an early version of an N64 or like a Super Nintendo.
Super Nintendo.
Super
I
Nintendo.
got Super Nintendo vibe from the controllers, and it was maybe like a what came out after Atari? No, it was Atari, then Atari 2600. Kind of reminded me of an Atari 2600.
It reminds me of an Intellivision.
And television also, yes, the console size.
Yeah.
I get that. I know a lot about console games.
Cool.
Yeah. Anyway, but
so,
yeah.
So what about you? What do you
I
feel
don't know.
about it?
It was actually the console thing that kind of made me hesitant about the movie. Not that I dislike consoles, but because I like them to be clear on what the movie's intention is going to be. Is this a continuation of Jumanji, or is it just another reboot remake? I like them being clear about that. The Ghostbusters movie from last year had that problem where from the trailer you couldn't quite tell
Which one it is going to be.
Yeah, if it was a sequel or what. And I just don't see the point of supplanting the movie that they've already got. But that being said, I don't want to be a hard ass about it, and I like the feel of this movie. I was laughing at the trailer.
Yeah.
I like all these actors in the movie. I give you a lot of sass all the time for having not seen Alien. I'm going to admit, and feel free to hate me on the internet, I love Karen Gillan and appreciate her work. She's great in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
A little intense, but yes.
I have never seen an episode of Doctor Who with her in it.
Oh, good lord.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
You got a lot to catch up on Karen Gillan.
Yeah.
Well, not a lot. She was a great companion to Matt Smith's Doctor, and she was a great companion choice. I think Stephen Moffat had an idea that she wanted a tall, gorgeous redhead who's Scottish.
Who can?
But I love her.
Fault him for that.
Yeah, no one can fault him for that. I'm not being sexist. She's just good looking.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Yeah,
But
But it's like that, and
I think Karen Gillan. I think in Doctor she does have a good sense of humor, and the chemistry that she has with Matt Smith in that show is very good. And her chemistry as Nebula with Gamora works very well in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. After they realize, after she calmed herself down from the first one, she didn't have to be as intense. But her comedic timing, although was probably just a hair off, it's still all of her bits landed with me. And I do expect a lot of that similarity between what she brought to Doctor Who as what she's going to bring to Jumanji. Yeah. And getting back to the whole console thing, from the board game to the console, this is just a teaser trailer. And I'm going to imagine, maybe I'm wrong, and I'm probably going to be wrong, that they're going to somehow maybe explain how it becomes from a board game to a console game somehow.
I do know that Dwayne Johnson did say they are going to have some kind of reference to the previous movie and some kind of dedication to Robin Williams.
I would hope so, right? I mean, that was anything Robin Williams is in is going to be, if they're going to remake it, it's going to be hard to do. And I hope they have some sort of small thing, maybe a thing about a boy who got trapped in a wall for X amount of years who came back, or a shoe factory kid, or something along those lines.
Or they could find something in the game that belonged to him.
Maybe that's true too. Those really cool kick-ass shoes that he destroyed. Something along those lines.
Good call.
A nice deep layer there.
Deep cut.
A deep cut. That's what I was searching for, deep cut, but I couldn't quite get there. Anyway, it looks great. I cannot wait to see it, and I hope it's better than Baywatch.
Yeah,
that's what I got.
It's going to get its butt kicked by Star Wars, but it'll be something for the non-Star Wars crowd
exactly.
to go to.
And I think this will be a good choice for everybody. You have the Star Wars people who are obviously going to flood Star Wars the first couple of days, and it's going to probably be sold out until Jumanji hits Christmas. 18th, I think. December 18th, I think, is when Star Wars comes out. So you got, let's see, that's 6 days? No.
It's like a week.
Like a week. So.
Okay. So, 5 days from the 18th to the 20th. No.
You have Star Wars.
7. A week.
A week. So whatever the case.
I'm much better at history, but math is not my thing.
If we learned anything from the last couple of Star Wars films, they sold out pretty much for the first week solid. So you're gonna want to go see something that isn't Star Wars. This is gonna be your one and only option.
This will be a good spillover.
So I'm gonna see both regardless. I honestly, this is now, after seeing the trailer, this is on my list of things I have to watch this year versus things like I want to watch this year.
There you go. I would also just kind of close out my point by saying, great actors all around. My biggest laugh actually came from Jack Black, because I think he's having a lot of fun playing a beautiful teenage girl trapped in that body.
Yeah.
Like, my favorite line from the trailer was, I can't even right now.
Yeah, that's such a typical millennial thing to say, and it's like coming out of Jack Black's mouth. You're like,
oh yeah,
pick a destiny. So
for me, it's Kevin Hart.
Yeah. Everyone, the whole cast. I can't pick a favorite. I think they're all going to kick ass. So
I'll pick a favorite, but
yeah, cool. You gotta go with the gorgeous one, Karen.
Oh,
but anyway,
that's easy.
Anyway, we'll move it on.
Yeah, I would also recommend you check out Karen Gillan's interviews on the Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson, where she appeared like 3 or 4 times. And
Craig Ferguson's a huge Doctor Who fan. So.
He had a TARDIS on his desk and everything. But
that's why he had Peter Capaldi, David Tennant, Matt Smith,
all the doctors.
He had all the doctors come on his show as often as they could get him.
Yeah. And Karen Gillan, she just a very balanced sense of humor. She, I guess, what we called the straight man type humor in the Guardians movies. Very, very measured, calm, angry. But on her late night appearances, she's just hilarious and very energetic.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. And if we're wrapped up with Jumanji, moving on to our next topic, which was music to my ears, my little bat cowl ears, where we had a new quote from Matt Reeves, who, poor guy, he just finished War for the Planet of the Apes a week ago, and now he's going to be bombarded with the Batman questions.
That's on my list of things to watch. I need to get caught up on all those films. I haven't watched any of the new ones.
They're
I want to
wonderful.
watch them now in a block so I can see them. I'm going to see the other two, then I'm going to go see the new one in theater. So it's like bam, bam, bam.
Do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go on.
So he did give us a little tidbit of information, though. Matt Reeves, previously director of Cloverfield, and one of those vampire movies, I think it was Let Me In, the American remake.
Yeah.
And
I think you're right.
The last 2 Planet of the Apes movies, is now the director of The Batman, which is the working title for the standalone Bat film.
I hope they keep that title. I like that title.
Yeah, just keep it simple. The Batman. Yeah. But he did give us a little tidbit of information about what he's thinking about the movie, saying, quote, what I try to do in an almost Hitchcockian sense is use the camera and use the storytelling so that you become the character and you empathize with that point of view. And I think there's a chance to do an almost noir-driven detective version of Batman that is point of view driven in a very, very powerful way that will hopefully connect you to what's going on inside of his head and inside of his heart. You got noir and detective story right there as a Bat fan. Again, music to my ears. I want to see that type of Bat story. We've never gotten the full-on Bat detective storyline in any of the live-action movies. Want to see this expanded upon. James, your thoughts?
My first thoughts when I either read or heard that quote, I did read it earlier and I did hear it from another source earlier, so I was really excited that we're going to talk about it. Was when you think noir, especially recently, you think, oh, they just made a Logan version of noir, but the noir was black and white. So is this going to be a black and white Batman film? I don't think it is.
Maybe a special edition.
Maybe like they did with Logan.
Yeah.
But my immediate thought after I read that is, we just had the trailer not too long ago come out for Murder on the Orient Express, and that's sort of the swan song for Hercule Poirot, and how he's the greatest detective in the world. It's a very good detective story, and that sort of style of detective work is very nice and cool. But I think this is going to be the exact kind of opposite, but in the same tone. So you're going to have a darker theme, but it's going to be in a very old-style detective story, which I'm all for. That's just my first thoughts on it. And how about you, Sean?
To me, it really harkens back to the older forms. DC Comics was originally Detective Comics.
Yep, DC.
To throw that out there, but the aspect to actually see, or from a first-person, almost moody feel of Batman, because he's a character that should be able to pull that off. That should be the core of his existence.
Especially if we get like Ben Affleck's Batman, because he was the much older, grumpier Batman than we're used to seeing.
But it should be something he should be able to pull off. I mean, Reeves, his work. Of course, now I'm trying not to be too sarcastic. I just have this image of Batman out by the window. Let me in, a la Salem's Lot a little bit. Just the whole vampire thing. But
don't ever invite Batman in.
He never. Yeah, just don't.
Does that go back to Lost Boys?
A little bit.
No, hopefully, I think it will. I really would hope for a Raymond Chandler-esque performance. I would like a Chandler. I would really dig a Chandler-esque kind of feel. As much as I like Hitchcock, I like that style novel noir. Yeah. So I think that'd be really cool, because it could also make more films later on if it's a success. A little more, atmospheric and also more attainable for future projects.
Yeah, or even like a I guess you call it like a neo-noir film like Chinatown.
Where, there you go.
Yeah, something like that, where it's just one continuous, piece of evidence, and you're moving on to the next piece of evidence and next piece of evidence. You don't have time for any monologuing or any kind of
moody
stuff. Just a guy on a case following up on the case.
And beating people senseless along the way. I love that the styling of Chinatown, but for whatever reason, I had this idea of I know it's not this at all, but doing a Sin City style but with Batman.
Ooh, yeah.
I know that's what they try to do with Dark Knight. That's very similar, right?
All right.
Isn't the Dark Knight kind of based on Frank Miller's Batman?
Yeah.
Yeah, I said based on. I didn't say it was completely, but I'm saying like
I would say yes.
A film style version of Batman, but looking like Sin City.
I could follow up on that, but it'd be like a 10-minute discussion.
That's fine.
So, yeah.
We'll save that for an all Batman show or something.
Yeah. Should be like, and this is where you're wrong. Cue music.
Exactly. You monologue about why I'm wrong, which is fine. Fair point. I don't know as much as you do on this topic, which is fair enough. That's why I lead the Star Wars show. That's more my thing. But if they do it this way. And I do believe that actually Ben Affleck, he did say that that's sort of the style he wanted to do it in originally. So if Matt Reeves is going to say, hey, this is what we're doing, props to that, because they're going to hopefully keep part of what Ben Affleck had wrote for the Batman.
I would do a quick shout out because I've been a regular reader of Batman on Film, which is a awesome non-spoiler Texas-based Batman News website, which has been around since 1998.
That's a while.
And they have they have a podcast which they do weekly. And Matt Reeves had also commented the other day about how yes, Ben Affleck is coming back to be Batman, but it was like a question that he got on the red carpet, and he said it in a way where it's like, what else is he going to say?
Right.
But and so I saw that quote and I watched the clip and I thought that doesn't sound very solid. But this information makes me feel better about Ben Affleck's coming back to be Batman because, you know, Affleck got such a raw deal with Live by Night. It shouldn't have been released in January. It deserved to get more.
From what I understand, it was a very good movie.
Yeah, it deserved more. And what Ben Affleck did was make a beautiful modern movie, which is a love letter to the classic Warner Brothers gangster movies of the 1930s and 40s. You know, movies like The Roaring Twenties in particular. I definitely got that vibe. Definitely that Prohibition era gangster vibe. And you have Matt Reeves saying something like this. That makes me think these guys can meet for lunch, talk about the project, and then they can be on the same page.
I think that's probably what happened.
Yeah, because you can also look at Affleck's other work with like The Town and Argo, just modern crime dramas that can mesh so well with what Matt Reeves wants to do with this project. It's very encouraging. It's a bit of good news for this Batman film, which it's kind of hard to come by sometimes.
Right. At least it's now outshadowed by the Han Solo drama. So hey, that's why it's fell off the radar.
At least Ben didn't start making the Batman film and then get fired. So yeah.
Who's gonna fill the suit now?
Oh gosh.
Anyway, thoughts?
No. James kind of filled it in quite a bit. I think for me, I've always been a big fan of the noir style. I just like that style of storytelling. I really do. So it's a win-win for me. I think at times Ben Affleck has caught a lot of flack, and unfortunately, I think it's because it's the pretty boys kind of syndrome. But he's actually, maybe I shouldn't say surprisingly, he is surprisingly very thoughtful in how he approaches his films.
Yeah,
and that catches people off guard. I was thinking of the film where his wife, quote unquote, goes missing.
Gone Girl.
Yeah, Gone Girl.
Didn't direct it, but he did star.
Yeah, I was referring to his acting, but just it also touching upon his directing. He has a lot of talents, and yet almost
he wasn't Chasing Amy, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's like his celebrity overshadows all the efforts he had. It's like if he had like an ugly fat man suit and would show up to work. He'd get more, praise and credit because he is a talented person.
Yeah.
But it seems to always be overshadowed by something else. And I think, where a lot of people are like, he's playing Batman, but it's Ben Affleck. And I heard a lot of pushback when he took the role.
You have no idea.
And the thing is, I watched him. I watched his performance and I went, yeah, he did a pretty good job. I was happy with it.
Best part of BVS.
Yeah.
I won't argue that.
Yeah.
When I saw him on BVS, I was like, that's the Batman that can go up against Nolan's Batman.
Yeah.
And I won't have a problem with the comparison because Nolan's Batman set the standard, in my opinion, for the Batman. You can go back as far back as
Keaton.
That was a good Batman too. But this modern era of Batman, you have now your two standards. You have Ben Affleck and you have
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale.
Yeah, Ben has a chance to be the most comprehensive take on the Batman character, I think.
And especially if you're familiar with some of the cartoons of Batman, I think you probably are. There's like a bunch of them, right? Then was it Batman Beyond? We had the new incarnation of Batman, the young Batman with Bruce Wayne.
With the old Bruce Wayne.
But Bruce Wayne then was grumpy as hell. And then you had the reiteration of the Batman, which was a very good series. And that kind of this is his version of Batman going off Ben Affleck's Batman. It was very similar to that style, which I was like mixed with the Batman Beyond Batman, not the young Batman, but Bruce Wayne.
Yeah,
I love it. Love it all of it. If they're gonna do the noir thing, light it up.
All for it. Yeah. I think it'd be a great way to revitalize the franchise.
Oh yeah, and it'll. Not that Wonder Woman didn't help DC at all, but this is another excellent step forward in the universe.
It seems like, as we discussed on another.
That was a good segue.
I was gonna say you set that up for me perfectly, man. Doing a return to Wonder Woman because the movie, my God, is just doing so well at the box office.
Week to week, it's only filled 30%.
25 to 30%. It's amazing.
That's fantastic number.
Outstanding for a superhero
your
film.
typical drop is between 50 and 60
for a superhero film, especially.
Yeah.
especially for a superhero film.
Yeah.
But yeah, Wonder Woman's fallen 30%, almost 25 to 30% consistently from week 1 to week 2. It did carry over from week 1 to week 2 is still number 1. Then from 2 to 3, it fell to the third place overall, and then last week it was 4th place, and it only fell again another 30%. So,
I'm trying to remember because it virtually tied this last week.
Yeah, it was literally exactly the same. So it could have been number 2 or number 3 as well.
Yeah.
So they just put him in a.
But and it is poised to become domestically. I haven't looked at the international numbers, but domestically, it is looking to become the most or the highest grossing DC extended universe film. Just rounding all up here, Wonder Woman, as of today, currently sits at about $325 million domestic, tying it with Suicide Squad at 325. And in a few days, it will make enough money to surpass Batman v Superman's take of 330. Easily, it's going to overtake it. Man of Steel, rounding it out, only having made 291 domestically. Wonder Woman is going to be on top.
Oh, yeah.
The funny thing is with Suicide Squad got such like a mixed bag of reviews that... Exactly, that's correct.
Your cat didn't like it.
That the fact that it made more than Man of Steel is impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, both box office numbers are not small by any means.
I had not looked at Man of Steel's numbers in a long time. I
Yeah.
was shocked it only did 291.
That's still not a small number.
That is heartbreaking
for something.
But it was,
as a fan favorite like that, that's actually pretty low.
Yeah, that's the first film set up in the DCEU, so it was already it was going to be hit or miss because it's hard to start a new. Oh, come on.
Yeah, get up here.
To kick off a new universe, it really is. And I know we just had a bunch of Batman film or Superman films that had just come out, and the last series didn't do that well. Which one? It was right before Man of Steel. Which one came out?
Oh, Superman Returns in 06. Yeah,
exactly.
That one,
so that left much like how Spider-Man. There's been like 5,000 Spider-Man reboots, and the last version of them sucked. So now we have Spider-Man: Homecoming. This is very similar, and then. So the box office wasn't primed for another Superman movie, but when it landed great because it got great reviews. But people didn't want to go see it. Like, oh, it's another one of those crappy Superman films.
They're burned out.
Yeah, they're burned out. But what with Wonder Woman does as well as it is, and it's catching up to BVS and Man of Steel, I am not surprised in any way. What's really funny to me is that there's still so many people talking about it and going to see it for the first time.
I want to go for a third time.
I've only seen it once. And I can remember it so well. And very few movies do that for me where I can just see it once and then it'll stick. This one stuck. And I was like, great film. Yeah.
See, I could, probably do a 35, 40-minute just spiel on it. The fact that I enjoyed seeing it set in World War I. And, we've discussed in the past why it was set in World War I, all these other reasons. But I really, really enjoyed it being set in World War I. Once again, it's the 100th anniversary, the showing the inhumanity to humanity. And honestly, I went with a really tough movie critic, and they enjoyed the heck out of it. And it has legs, and I'm not making...
But you don't really want to be that guy who goes, it sucked.
Well...
you don't really want to be that guy.
It has legs for the fact that it fulfills, ethos and pathos, and it actually shows a lot of depth of emotion of the characters. Mm-hmm. And so the motivations are well done. I didn't think it was two-dimensional. Maybe Ares was a little two-dimensional, but it's Ares. Come on, he's a one-trick pony. What does he do?
Was it just me, or were you like, that's Professor Lupin?
Yeah, I wasn't. Yeah,
he's not intimidating.
Yeah, so
even when he threw on all that armor, like all the metal, it's like
it's still Professor Lupin. Yeah,
they should have went with someone a little bit like. If Jason Momoa wasn't going to be Aquaman, that would have been a great
Not that
villain.
That wouldn't be just such a huge tell. So who do you think in here is the God of War?
I don't know. But no, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. Goes who's the little guy?
Yeah,
the little guy is the God of War. You're like,
and this is a spoiler discussion. So if you haven't seen Wonder Woman, what is wrong with you?
Yeah,
seriously,
get on that bandwagon.
If I've seen it, if I beat you to the theater, shame on you.
Yeah. But the God of War would be a politician.
In the modern view of things. Yeah. Definitely in the modern view.
Especially for that war where it was fought for no reason whatsoever. No reason except to honor treaty obligations.
I would counter with it was fought primarily because the game, what they called the Great Game, had been going on for 25 years, and you can only have one top dog. You can never contain a piece of balance. There's always
Jedi and Sith, man, can never have a piece of balance.
There's always going to be one on top, and
Yep.
they all wanted to be that one. So any pretext. So
Yeah, but
good on Wonder Woman, though.
yeah, super happy for its success. I'll check in on the international numbers because it'd be something if it could creep up and overtake BVS, which is at like $850-ish million worldwide.
But you got to look at how quickly she's gotten that too.
I know.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
She's
it's
getting up there.
fast.
Like
the fact that it's
yeah.
still in theaters in America
Yeah.
and not just box office overseas, and it's still crushing it.
yeah,
My
she's
God,
like she's a. I would.
we're talking Patty Jenkins and
Yeah.
Wonder Woman and Gal Gadot.
Yeah. Gal Gadot's a goddess for what she did with this movie, and I want to say it's maybe crossed at least 600 million if I had to guess.
Probably.
So
probably by
getting
now,
there.
but it's also the fact that, we were worried, would it, is this finally the turning point for, DC Universe
I think
to get
so.
their feet down and
Well,
start producing some really great
Yeah.
content?
They
and
have a whole bunch of new producers coming in, and then whole new writers' room. So
so if they can get a nice fat bank off of Wonder Woman, and I have no doubts they will, that's going to mean more talent, and I think Marvel's going to have a real competitive, time now.
I wouldn't be surprised if some of them jump ship to go to DC to write different films.
Sure, I mean different takes.
They're probably contractually obligated not to, but who knows?
Well, there is a guy named Joss Whedon who's now in charge of Justice League.
That's very true. That's right, and no one really can kind of put. Joss Whedon is a very unique person where he doesn't put himself in any one camp. He's like, I'm a writer and I love everything.
He's just a nerd.
He's just a nerd. He didn't want to corner himself
And he
into
gets to
one
nerd out.
universe. Yeah.
Yeah,
What? Anyway.
Talking to the cat.
talking to the cat.
Well, speaking of Marvel and responding to, I guess, Wonder Woman, they have a movie coming out in about a week called Spider-Man Homecoming.
Ah, yes.
Kind of
Yeah, go ahead.
like the elephant and/or spider in the room that we haven't touched on yet. Comes out July 7th and stars Tom Holland as Spider-Man, reprising his role from Captain America: Civil War.
It's got a Batman in it. It's got a Batman in
And
it.
Michael Keaton playing
Yes!
playing
He's got
the
wings.
Vulture.
He's got wings.
Still got wings.
I saw a really cool fan poster the other day, which was like, I think the fake title was like King of Flight, and it had Michael Keaton up front, and behind him was his Bat costume, his Birdman costume from the Oscar-winning film Birdman, and then his Vulture costume.
Which is funny. I think he's the only Batman who can still fit into his original Batman suit.
Yeah, he bragged about that when
Yeah,
they made
with
Birdman.
Birdman,
He's
yep.
like, yeah, they measured me for the suit and same measurements as Batman.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's also really scary.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
someone who conveys menace.
Yeah.
He's someone who's really good at conveying a little bit crazy and menace all at the same time.
If you want to get nuts, he'll get nuts.
Oh yeah.
Getting back to Spider-Man, the critic reviews right now, the press screening was already this week. Have actually last night because it's 2 nights ago, whenever it was. Critics are loving this film, and apparently, if you're going in it thinking that maybe this would be Iron Man 4, it's not. Or Iron Man 3. How many Iron Mans have they made? They made a lot.
4.
So yeah, if you're thinking this will be like Iron Man 4 with a lot of Tony Stark, apparently there's not a lot of Tony Stark in it.
Okay.
What we get in the trailers is what we get. There's nothing else
That should
in
be
it,
fine. It
which
should
is
be
great.
Spider-Man.
It's a Spider-Man film, and we do get a lot more of what we should be getting with Spider-Man: humor, high school, the awkwardness that comes with teenagers, and stuff like that. So I cannot wait to see. These are all just things I've heard and read about reviews already because some of the reviews are already up. For non-spoiler, the spoiler embargo hasn't lifted yet. So I am so on board for this one. I didn't see the recent incarnation of Spider-Man's.
Yeah.
Because I heard they were god awful. So I'm like, I'm not going to waste my time. But I did see Sam Raimi's Spider-Mans or
Oh, yeah,
or
the original
films.
reboot.
Yeah, the first reboot or the first one in the more modern cinemas with
Andrew Garfield.
Nope.
Maguire.
Maguire.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire. I liked those ones. Those were fun. I like Sam Raimi as a filmmaker though, so he tells the story very well. You know, you think of like Evil Dead and Army of Darkness, right?
No, don't go there.
But they're good movies. And be real. That's why, hey, better than B.
Yeah.
That's why we started the show to begin with, but we've gone off on a whole different tangent. But
Spidey, web singing,
Yeah, exactly.
Vulture.
it looks good. I cannot wait. When does it come out this weekend?
Not this weekend, but the weekend after.
So yeah, another good reason to go to the cinemas to get out of this Texas heat. So cannot wait.
For me, it's really touching upon the return to back to the comic book. The high school angst. Mr. Holland, I think he does a fantastic job of showing a certain emotional range.
And a nice American accent.
Yeah, and very good American accent. For
Very,
someone
very interesting to hear his real British accent.
Yeah.
Throws you off the game a little bit. But it just looks like there's going to be a lot of good performances, and even from the supporting cast, there seem like there's a lot of good performances. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the secondary characters actually this is going to be a big launch pad for them.
Yeah.
But staying with Spidey, man, the whole point of it, is with Stan Lee's creation of Spider-Man was the fact that for the first time was reaching a demographic of their readers. It was closer to the age. Hero was actually closer to the age of the readers.
Yeah, you weren't writing about like a 20 or 30 or 40 or something year old Batman or a 30, 40 year something Superman.
Right.
You were right. No, that's DC.
And
Or X-Men. We'll go with the X-Men universe. They're middle-aged heroes. You got Spider-Man, who's a high schooler.
Right, and that was the thing, that it was a risk, but the fact that they were actually going halfway to meet their target audience, I thought was really cool about Spider-Man. That and the fact that of all the Marvel Universe characters, he was the only one before Deadpool that had a mouth.
Very true.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he had a mouth for a high schooler.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
And what of the FAA, or is it FAA? Who runs the comic book code? Comic Book Code of America,
FCA or something
yeah,
like
whatever the comic book code said, we can and cannot put in comic books for kids.
But he always brought humor.
There's a comic book code.
There was always sarcasm and humor.
There is. Still exists. It's on every comic book comic. It's on the
Little
cover.
stamp.
Okay. I guess
This one probably doesn't have it.
Well,
but it usually sits like right up here.
yeah, but it used to be more strict in the 70s, and then we started to,
and we've gotten a little looser on that, but it's
Yeah.
still there.
Yeah.
Still there.
But anyway, the fact that here was a mouthy teenager that was supposed to be the hero of the day.
Yeah.
So I enjoy seeing it being brought back to its roots. What about you?
I feel good about this movie, which is saying a lot, because I kind of got burned out on the Spider-Man character. I guess when I stopped being a teenager, the character didn't have as much appeal.
There it is, right
Yeah, see, like you have the older code. On that what comic is that? It's
Adventure?
Superman on it.
It's adventure comic.
Oh, it's Superboy. Okay. More do.
Instead of action comic, it's adventure comic. Still
Yeah.
DC.
Okay,
Boom.
I dig that.
A box of wonders is under the desk.
What was I thinking? Oh yeah, but it's like as soon as I stopped being a teenager, I didn't care so much about Spider-Man. It kind of, I guess I grew out of him there. But anytime you want to have a successful movie, just embrace the appeal of the character.
Yeah.
Like for Batman fans like myself, I don't want a younger Batman. I want an older veteran Batman.
Yeah.
Skip the origin. Just show us Batman in action.
We got the origin already. We don't need to see it
we
again.
got enough of that.
I know it's not part of the DCU.
Same
but
goes for Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire did a good job in the first movie. Andrew Garfield had a fan base, but the two of them looked older than Peter Parker should.
be.
He should be a high schooler, and Tom Holland looks the part. And
Yes, he does.
Like among the hardcore Spider-Man fans that I know, they love the guy. This is the Spider-Man they want to see. This is their Spider-Man. And so when the character went back to when the character got in this weird co-op relationship with Sony, the Marvel Studio guys, I think, I talk shit about
Kevin Feige.
Kevin Feige and company. I talk down about him all the time, but they get the Spider-Man character, I think, and they're going to give him the Spider-Man that fans have always wanted. And so
I think that's something that the Marvel Universe has done very interestingly, is that you have the cinematic universe and you have the comic universe, and they don't always align on character development and character style. However, I think we've had so many weird and not quite right versions of Spider-Man, especially recently, that they're like, you know what, we should probably have it closer to the comic book because we've kind of strayed a little bit off of that from the last couple of films. So.
Well, like to go off your point, with DC, they look like a lived-in universe.
Yeah.
You nailed that point. Marvel, a lot more comic booky, and so bring in a comic booky Spider-Man. He fits in just fine.
Underoos!
Yeah, and they're really starting to have a drift point, like two continents. One's going the lived-in universe, the other one these one-shot independent universe for every movie seems. And it's staying much more comic booky, to use your term. Where this one there was a lot more continuity that I saw. After I got to see Batman versus Superman, Wonder Woman, and I'd already seen the Man of Steel.
And Suicide Squad.
So for me, it's like, wow, the continuity throughout is really impressive. I mean, some of the dialogue, even the scenes and shots of the old ruins, et cetera, et cetera. that was really well done, and I really appreciate that. Whereas I've always had issues with Marvel's. Each movie is like a separate universe. They don't really cross over.
Yeah, they keep repairing these cities as quickly as they make new films. You're like, didn't y'all destroy a bunch of shit last time? No, we fixed it. It's brand new again. Etch-a-sketch.
Yeah. So they were all cardboard anyway. It was
Exactly.
all cardboard.
Yeah. It's like the town of Rockridge. You just build a town like the town, so the other guys destroy it, and you really have your town back. I know that was a stretch.
If you got that reference, kudos to you.
Yeah, Mel Brooks. Anyway, I think that's a good. I think I should about do it.
Yeah, right on. I would only add one interesting tidbit because I mentioned the arrangement that Marvel has with Sony.
Mm-hmm.
Sony is getting all the box office money from this movie.
I did not know that.
Marvel Studios is getting the merchandise money.
Ow.
That's their
Good
arrangement.
for Sony. Good
Yeah, that's
for
a
Sony.
yes, me. That's a steal for Sony.
Well, you gotta look at it from Marvel's point of view. They're like, how many films have we done now? You can have this one. We get it. It's gonna be a big one. But we're owned by Disney. We're good. We're good.
Or maybe it's like they're like shaking their fist. Enjoy it now, Sony. Enjoy it now.
Before we get Spider-Man back, you can have this one.
I think eventually we're going to have to cover the other news on the Sony front where they've announced Venom movie starring Tom Hardy.
Yeah, as Venom.
Yeah,
which is kind of funny because you got to think about.
Yeah. And he's battling Carnage.
That symbiotic suit that is Venom, and Venom is kind of like the anti-hero. He's kind of like a Deadpool, but more violent.
If that's possible.
Well,
yeah,
you have when Venom is bad, he's very, 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 very bad, and when he's good, he's still more bad than good. Versus you have Deadpool, who can be good. He'll change clothes in a phone booth to try to save somebody. Too late, but he's doing the right thing for the right reasons. And then you have who said they could be going up. The villain will be Carnage. You can't have a villain versus a villain without having a Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like
we
how's that
can
work?
address that on
Yeah,
next week's
that's for a later show. But in the
Yeah.
meantime,
When more of the
very,
details come
very
out.
interesting balancing act going on with Marvel and Sony, and we got to see how it works out.
Like Black Cat. I'm not going to go into it.
Yeah.
Nah, go ahead.
I think that'll about do it.
About do it.
Close us out?
All right. Thank you for joining us on Better Than B today. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment. And we hope to see you all next time. And in the meantime, I'm James Armstrong.
I am James Waddington, and remember the button will be right here to subscribe. And if you want to check out last week's episode, they'll be here, and the week before that will be there. That's all I got.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Good night.